Hello students, welcome to Environment and Ecology series with Dr. Vivek Rana. So UPSC prelims has just concluded and I hope it has gone as per your expectations. If we compare it to last 3 years, this was probably a manageable or you could say moderate difficulty paper, but the bad news is cutoff is likely to be on slightly higher side this time, unlike the previous trend of 75, 88, 87 is likely to be broken, and once again the early hundreds are going to be a norm in this particular year. So without wasting any time, I have set A with me, so I'll be discussing or highlighting the right answers for you from environment and ecology section. And once again the section has paid dividends. There were 17 questions from environment and ecology. You can say it was the second most asked section this year, highest being the Indian polity, which had 20 questions. So the question number 16, you can say in set A, first 15 questions were from geography, and from 16 onwards it's the environment section. So in question number 16 says, one of the following regions has the world's largest tropical peatland. So in this question the keyword is world's largest peatland, and if you have good general knowledge you could easily attempt the question straight away, but still it's always better or prudent to read the entire question. It says which holds about 3 years worth of global carbon emissions from fossil fuels, and its possible destruction can exert a detrimental effect on global climate. So they have given 4 options: Amazon basin, Congo basin, Kaikouri basin, and Rio de Plata basin. Amazon, we all know, it's world's largest wetland. It's in South America. Congo basin is in Central Africa. Kaikouri is in Papua New Guinea, and Rio de Plata basin is once again in South America. So here you have to understand a current affair comes into the picture. We had done Brazzaville declaration, and even in your environment complete test we had framed specifically the question which is the area in which Brazzaville declaration held, and in discussion we had specifically highlighted it's the Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is the world's largest peatland. So that's the reason why this initiative was in news. So even though the world's largest wetland continues to be Amazon, but if we happen to focus on the peatland word, it's in Africa, Congo. So I hope you got this one correct. Coming to the next question, the next one was once again from current affairs, and we had covered it almost in, if you look at the cycle from April to May, we had covered it almost thrice, this particular theme. It says with reference to PFAS, the forever chemicals, the common name which we give them, technical name they have already mentioned, polyfluoroalkyl substances. So they have given you 3 statements. The first statement says PFAS are found to be widespread in drinking water, food, and food packaging materials. So whenever even you can see in your current affair files, which I give in prize as well, there are specific articles on PFAS, and it starts with saying that yes, they are commonly found in packaging as well as drinking waters. And the second statement says they are not easily degraded. That's the reason why we cover them in the environment section. Also, why this is the only reason why they are called forever chemicals, because they are non-degradable. They persist in environment for considerable period of time. So second statement is once again also correct. The third statement says their exposure can lead to bioaccumulation. So bioaccumulation we cover in environment ecology section, just like we cover the biomagnification, when the increase of harmful chemical occurs at a particular trophic level, it is called bioaccumulation. So in this case it's in humans where PFAS, and in aquatic species this bioaccumulation is taking place. So any chemical which does not degrade and it's non-polar in nature, or is typically of difficult chemistry which cannot be disintegrated, tends to get bioaccumulated. So in this question once again the answer is D1, and we have seen in UPSC lot of questions answer happens to be all of the above or the D option. So I hope you got, everyone who had attended PFA or who had read this file or attempted even our test series must have got this one correct. Now 18th was a tricky one, which only zoology students, only some of the zoology students to be more precise, would have answered. It was not covered in our class lectures, or we didn't even have a reference in our current affair class as well. It says, consider the following. They have mentioned you 5 different lower insect species. One is the carabid beetle, second is centipede, the third one is common flies, fourth are termites, and the fifth one is wasp. And then the difficult part starts. They say parasitoid species are found in how many above the kind of organism. Even though you have a fair idea if you are preparing for UPSC what are parasites, but parasitoids is a specific type of parasite which should be ideally be distinguished if you want to attempt this question. Now parasites, when we discuss in our class lecture, are organisms which tend to enter into host body and tend to derive nutrition at cost of organism. But in larger, you could say, in life cycle, they do not want the host to get killed because they are dependent on it and they are deriving free nutrition from it. In parasitoid case, their life cycle completes by killing the host in which they are inhabiting. So basically the parasitoids are the dangerous form of parasites which are directly linked with the tragic death of the host. So basically all parasites are not parasitoids in simple parlance. So in this case you have to understand the flies, wasps, these beetle varieties, these are the ideal examples which are typically associated with the parasitoids theme. Termites, we all know, are social insects, the local dimmak we say. They are never too alarmingly difficult for any human being or any say organism as well. So that option had to be eliminated. And then even the centipede, the one which has one of the maximum appendages or legs, these are typically not as parasitic organism. They tend to survive in soil. So basically the answer in this combination is going to be B option, only 3. So if you have not attempted this question properly, that was a wise move. But if you have taken a risk, in case of all 5, it would have backfired, and only few students probably had so much in-depth knowledge of the term parasitoid and then to link with the specific example. So basically it was almost an unattemptable question which only few students could have taken a risk. Coming to the next question, which was finally an easy one not to score. They have said they consider the following pairs: groundnut, horse gram, and they have mentioned soya bean. And then the question starts, how many of the above belong to the pea family? So even though the question sounds a little of botany origin, but here you do not have to panic. It's a basic theme mentioned in your ecology. When we cover the nitrogen cycle in biogeochemical cycle theme, there is a specific wording called nitrogen fixation bacteria, and then we give a comprehensive list of leguminous family. In those leguminous family, you have bean, soya bean, chickpea, peanut, anything to do with the apart from pea, and the beans are the ideal example. And their family, even though technically is known as Leguminaceae or Fabaceae family, even if you do not know about the exact family name, it's manageable. You just had to take a calculated risk. The answer was once again all of the above. All 3, groundnut, horse gram, and you could say the soya bean, belong to the same family, which has a distinguished advantage of biological nitrogen fixation being carried out automatically. So coming to the question number 20, it was once again linked to current affairs because the species was making news for all the wrong reasons in last, you could say, 3-4 years. So statement 1 says, Indian flying fox is placed under vermin category in WPA, Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Now, so this is once again a conventional theme. When we covered Wildlife Protection Act 1972, there are 6 schedules. The first 4 schedules cater to the highly protected species. Their killing is never permitted. But the schedule 5 used to be a controversial schedule in which the vermin issue was highlighted, in which there are specific group of animals which are directly you are able to hunt because there is a risk of man-animal conflict, or the crops have been damaged, or that species is carrying some virus which has potential to be transmitted to humans. So The flying fox or the bat was in news because of COVID-19. It was likely reservoir, and then they had Nipah controversy in India, Kerala outbreaking multiple times, and then the dreaded Ebola has also its roots to flying fox or the bat species. So here you have to understand these common species like rats, bats, whose number is substantial and they pose a threat. So typically they are not placed. They are placed in this particular schedule called vermin, and the second statement says, the first statement is correct. The second statement says that Indian flying fox feeds on blood of other animals. Now this is a completely misleading statement. If you are watching too many Hollywood movies, probably you might have linked that the bats are the species which feed on blood of various organisms, but this is not true. Bat is a fructivorous species which mainly feeds on fruits. Its ecological role is of a pollinator. It moves from one flower or fruit from another, and it's important species to be conserved. So it's a, in fact, it is considered as a keystone species in our ecology. So here you have to understand the second statement had to be eliminated. So the right answer to this question is C option. Statement 1 is correct, whereas statement 2 is incorrect. So this one had typically a current affair part, the testing of your Wildlife Protection Act, because Wildlife Protection Act was amended, in which in current act we have just you could say eliminated this vermin schedule. There are just out of 6 now 4 schedules are left. And this is the basically the reason why they probably have asked this question. Now coming to question number 21, the organisms cicada, frog hopper and pond skater are. So here once again your class lectures come into the play. While giving you a comprehensive list of national parks, I highlight example of Silent Valley because this is one of the national park which is also mentioned in your NCRTs. Now Silent Valley is in Kerala. It's an important region in, you could say, Nilgiri complex, which is happens to be a important biosphere reserve. Now in this you have to understand the word Silent Valley was given to that national park because when Britishers were moving to that national park, they were surprised not to hear the whistling typical sound which we hear in any forest or national park. And the reason is the cicada insect is missing when they were traversing through that forest, and that's why they gave that ornamental name Silent Valley. Now apart from that, it belongs to a cricket insect, so that's the story which we tell in our class lectures as well. And then even if you have missed the lecture or you are not aware about this story, at least the second organism, frog hopper, is almost similar to the mnemonic grasshopper family. So you had to make an easy guess of insects in this because other options were they had given birds, reptiles or fishes. So this was probably a scoring question as per me. You might differ. Then coming to question number 22, this one is once again a common sense question. It says that statement 1 says many chewing gums found in market are considered as source of environmental pollution. So you can see the environment pollution, especially the plastics, different form of plastics, have been in news ever since 2018 when Beat Plastic Pollution theme was given by India. And these plastics, when they enter aquatic food chain, they pose significant risk to our environment, aquatic ecosystem. So basically chewing gums also come in that controversial category, right, with the, you could say, the microplastic theme or the detergent. So there were articles which highlight this problem. The second statement says that many chewing gums contain plastic as gum base. So basically the second option is trying to explain why we are considering pollutant, because it contains a plastic or a gum base ingredient which makes it controversial. So once again the linkage is straightforward. To be more precise, it's the polyvinyl acetate base which is found, which is any chemical which is of complex nature of benzene or polyvinyl nature cannot be broken. Even the PVC pipes we highlight in plastic section, they once again they are complex nature of themes which cannot be broken down by nature's microorganisms. So once again the reason as well as the statement are correct. So you have to pick A, both statements are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation. Hopefully even if you have not covered this theme from current affairs, you would have been able to easily link the options. Now 23 question is from biodiversity part, and we always highlight that there are over 1.4 million species identified, and it's not possible to know the ecological role of each species or their geographical distribution, because there is an endemic species theme which is always a favorite one of UPSC. They generally tend to ask where this species is found. So what makes this question difficult is generally we tend to focus in our class lectures or current affairs the Indian species which are in news, but basically in UPSC in this question all three species are non-Indian. They are distributed across the world. So probably this was almost an unattemptable question by any means. The first statement country they have mentioned is Brazil, and then endemic animal they have mentioned is Indri. Now Indri is a technical species which only zoologists or people like me who are interested in youth for biodiversity cater to it. It's a lemur species. Idri is its name, and it's found in Madagascar, which is a ecological hotspot in African continent. You must have seen the movies as well. So basically this one was quite almost a difficult combination to decipher, so this is a wrong combination. Then in Indonesia they have shown elk, even though this one could have been decoded if you are familiar what exactly is an elk. Elk is a fur bearing an animal which resembles like an antelope or a deer, and when you look at the, when you see Indonesia climate, it's a evergreen tropical rainforest type of themes where you cannot have a fur bearing animal, because this is a cold species, native species which is found in Siberia or Central Asia type region. So basically this one was probably and could have been eliminated if you are following such species. And the third one says in Madagascar, bonobo. Now bonobo is once again a primate, you can say monkey ape family member. So it is found in once again Central Africa. To be more precise, it's the Democratic Republic of Congo where this species was in news. So once again a difficult nut to crack, because at end we tend to see that if species is being found in Central Africa, it might be distributed all over as well. So the correctly matched combination is none of the above. So for a change, they have put a question in which all of the above sequence would have not given you dividend. But then that's the part of the theme. You have to take some calculated risks. Now coming to the next question, number 24, World Toilet Organization. They have given you 3 facts regarding it. The first fact says it's one of the agencies of United Nations. Basically, you all are familiar with international organization. The main headquarters are at Geneva, and there are plethora of institutions linked with UN. Every other day we see General Assembly, Security Council, or UN tag in news, but you cannot link this World Toilet Organization with United Nations. So basically this was a blunder statement. You had to eliminate this statement for a reason. It's basically an NGO who is working on promoting the cause of open defecation. The first statement is wrong. The second one is correct. They have highlighted the World Toilet Summit, World Toilet Day, World Toilet College. These are some of their signature initiatives which were launched, even though this theme was not too much in news. So basically it's a wild guess type of question. And in third statement they have mentioned that it is granting fund to least developed countries to achieve open defecation, even though symbolically it appears to be a correct statement, but I have checked their official website as well, nowhere it is mentioned. Basically you have to apply a little common sense. It is an NGO which is itself dependent on funds to promote a good cause, so it's not taking any major burden of, you could say, taking the granting to that. So basically it's a specific question and you have to choose A option 2 only. Then coming to question number 25, we have seen the cheetah reintroduction project multiple times in news, and India also spearheaded Big Cat Alliance. So they have put a question on that theme and tried to focus on behavioral aspect of big cat family members. So once again, it's not a bookish question or typical question which you see in newspaper. It's an observation based theme, and once again only people who are preparing for IFS exam, this was properly catering to their needs. So even if you have not attempted this question or taken some calculated risk, it's understandable. The first statement says lions do not have particular breeding season, which happens to be the correct season. They do not have any specific time or that cycle. There is quite a variation in different species. So first statement holds true. The second statement states, unlike most other big cat, cheetah do not roar. Now roaring is something we associate with these big cat family members, right from the lion's roar we have heard, the tiger roar you must have seen in zoos or basically the tiger safaris. Project Tiger has been the major success story. But if you look at the cheetah, any videos which were circulating, you will never see a cheetah roaring. So once again, this is quite an exception. The cheetahs, even though they belong to the same family, cheetahs rarely roar. So this is once again a correct statement. Now the third one is a tricky one. They says, unlike male lions, male leopards do not proclaim their territory by scent marking. Now this is a zoology theme in which we study the behavior of various animals and pheromones, and there are territorial instincts which are taught to us, in which it is clearly highlighted that any large wild species, even from wild dogs to even your domestic dog, they are quite territory possessive just like humans, and they mark their territory with their urine or the feces sample. In indirect way, the pheromones released from it highlight that this territory belongs to a X particular species. So there they have tried to confuse with male leopard, male lion, but all cat family members are quite possessive and they guard their territory quite aggressively. If you are watching Animal Planet or any other Discovery biopics, this theme is highlighted many times. So you have to eliminate this statement. So answer is 1 and 2. Once again, a difficult question from animal perspective. Now 26 was a factual question from current affairs. They have highlighted, asked you about 100 million farmer scheme. So if you have read it, you might be in position to attempt it. If you have skipped this or not able to link it with anything, then 4 option was quite lengthy ones, so it would have been a difficult nut to crack. Otherwise the answer is straightforward. The A option is the platform in which we are trying to link agriculture with climate. In the backdrop of COP 28-27, these themes were highlighted under green initiatives, because such initiatives light from methane to ammonia, green hydrogen, biofuels, all were in news, and now environmentalists are putting pressure on these the farmer community, because at times the agriculture community, right from stubble burning to methane emissions to other pesticide fertilizers, you tend to be on the other side of the picture. So they, in this, it's a platform towards food and water system that are aiming net zero carbon positive and increasing farmer resilience. Now coming to 27, they have mentioned 4 basic, you could say, distributed energy sources: battery storage, biomass generator, fuel cells were in news all over the year, and also the solar photovoltaic cells, since India is the front runner in promoting these photovoltaic cells which transform solar to electrical energy. So in this answer once again was on designated pattern. All are the distributed energy sources, so you have to put all of the above answer. There is no catch in any of the option. These are some small sources which tend to generate electricity in times of the need. And coming to question number 20, this was once again unattemptable question. Only once again people who have doing masters or you could say graduation in environmental sciences, botany, zoology are able to link. It says, which of the following shows a unique relationship with an insect that has co-evolved with it, that is only insect that can pollinate this tree. Even though you are clear with the concept of pollination, co-evolution is not too difficult to understand. It means 2 species are evolving at the same time and they tend to get interlinked with one another, so much so that both get some advantage. And indirect way, if you remove one species, the second one is going to suffer as well. So in this case, they have mentioned 4 trees: fig, mahua, sandalwood, silk, cotton. So this time the answer was fig. There is a specific variety of the wasp which is associated with the fig wasp, to be precise, a female to be precise, and they pollinate and have evolved eventually. Even after that, you will see the remnants of this wasp in the species. So this one is an out of box question which appears every then and now from interaction topic, and only you can give us if you are not attempted this question, probably you would have been better served. And coming to question number 29, this one was manageable. It says, which of the following species are poisonous among them? They have mentioned butterflies, fishes and frogs. So frog, which when we are covering biodiversity or animal kingdom, in that we specifically highlight that there are arrow dart frogs which are quite poisonous in nature, because we highlight how some snakes are, majority of the land snakes are non-poisonous, sea snakes are poisonous, and then if you look at the lizards, only one lizard is poisonous, one Heloderma. So here you have to link the frog species are poisonous. Lot of South American frog in Amazon fall in this category. Coming to butterflies, we discuss in mimicry there is a viceroy monarch butterfly interaction in which one is mimicking non-palatable or you could say poisonous butterfly. So there are specific butterflies which fall under this category, so you can link them with. And fishes, you all know shellfish, anglerfish or catfish, they are typically release some hypnotoxin which are at times shell poisoning. We have commonly seen at times deaths are reported due to it. So to be precise, there are over 1500 fishes which fall under this category. So answer once again, if you are taking risk of all of the above, would have given you dividend, because at least out of 3 you might be sure about 2 or probably 1 with a short knowledge. Then the 30th question was once again interesting one. Consider the following cashew, papaya, red sandals. How many above trees are actually native to India? Now native, once again, the theme from biodiversity about endemic species. So you have to understand this question. We have highlighted in our current affair class and in one static lectures that the Pushpa movie highlights the theme of red sanders, because that's the species which is found only in Andhra Pradesh, and it is illegally transported to Chennai and then to Japan for making musical instrument and other industries. And papaya was also in news because in dengue at time we have seen kiwi and papaya gaining limelight, and multiple newspapers carry such articles that both species are not native to India, but still they are grown because of their rich vitamin content. So basically papaya, we all know, is from Central America, and this cashew is from Brazil. It was brought by Portuguese. So answer to this question is A. So you can say from question number 16 to 30 in single sequence all environment and ecology sections were asked. Apart from that, there were a couple of more questions from environment and ecology in the current affairs section. One was a factual one. It says, according to Environment Protection Agency, this is question number 90, which one of the following is largest source of sulfur dioxide? So sulfur dioxide in basic class lecture we always highlight, mainly when we cover SO2, it's the thermal power plants which are the main culprit, and there is no surprise, the answer is the D option only, because thermal plant has a dubious distinction of being the major emitter of sulfur dioxide, even though the modern one are trying desulfurization technique, but still a lot needs to be done. And finally, since we are moving towards net zero and phasing out of or transitioning to away from fossil fuel, they are likely to be addressed. This was manageable. Apart from that, there was another specific question which was from environment. So we have already covered, I guess, 16 questions. One more question from current affair perspective needs to be covered, and then we can close this theme. The final question was, once again we had covered in our current affair class, European Parliament has approved Net Zero Industry Act. So we have seen European Union is taking leads in taking the overall green climate deal forward by unitary targets, and also it's imposing carbon tax, and this act was also in news. And the second statement says European Union intends to achieve carbon neutrality by 2040, therefore it develops own clean technology. So in second statement they have just you could say delayed or postponed the target. The ideal target which European Union has set for itself under this act is 2030, because we have seen developing country keeping the targets in 2015. Even India has kept its net zero target in 2017, but European Union is a front runner and it's putting pressure that we should strive at 2030 target. So basically in this question you have to pick C option. First statement is correct, the second one is in wrong direction because of the manipulation of the target. So we can say this overall the paper of environment ecology section, probably because this exam also is a screening test for Indian Forest Services, they keep this section on slightly higher side, especially the biodiversity section. Otherwise in pollution or green initiative you are more or less able to manage. Ecology questions, the examples are a bit tricky one, but still by elimination method you can tend to link, and hopefully by this year majority of themes you had heard in current affairs. So this should give you a hope that preparation, if done with a comprehensive and linkage with the static part, it can definitely give dividends. So if you have any question which has not been addressed from environment ecology section, you can ask them in comment section. I will try to revert. And in other sections also. If you have any query, feel free to ask. So overall we can say this was a welcome paper from UPSC, and hopefully your individual scores would definitely jump by leaps and bounds, even though the competition will remain stiff due to higher cutoffs. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.